You can have 100,000 reasons to mock Thailand, but horror films are not one of them. And today, the voodoo doll I'm bringing to you will definitely let you experience what true folk horror is. The story begins with a man who, as an atheist, fearlessly curses a statue. But as soon as night falls, he is terrified to find that there seems to be someone behind him. Sure enough, when he turned around to check, there really was a shadow constantly approaching him. The man was so frightened that he immediately ran but accidentally stepped into a void. He desperately tried to pull his leg out, but it was in vain. Soon, a piercing scream echoed through the sky, but the punishment from the statue had just begun. The man, as if possessed, held a fish hook to his eye, then swallowed the other end into his stomach. Perhaps the man never knew until his death that the object of his curses was not something he could provoke. Many remote towns in Thailand are famous for worshipping deities, attracting many people from afar to devote themselves to spiritual practice. Among them is Xiao Tan's brother. Seeing that decades have passed without his brother returning, Xiao Tan is very worried, so he specifically came to the town. Soon after, he arrived on the island and saw a girl carrying water, so he went up to help her. Then he asked the girl for the location of the temple, and Mina asked a nearby friend who was planning to take him there. Now, this person's name is Xiao Tan. Although a bit simple-minded, he is very enthusiastic and led Xiao Tan all the way to the temple. But to his surprise, his brother was no longer there. The monk said that his brother killed the abbot 4 years ago and then disappeared without a trace. This shocked Xiao Tan greatly. He couldn't believe his brother would do such a thing. To help clear his brother's name, Xiao Tan decided to stay here for a while. Led by the young monk, the two of them walked deeper into the forest. As they passed a dilapidated house, Xiao Tan felt a bit uneasy. The curtains flapped in the wind, and the peeling walls and broken windows suggested that no one had lived there for a long time. Seeing Xiao Tan staring intently, the young monk quickly explained that it was just an abandoned warehouse. Upon hearing this, Xiao Tan dismissed his doubts. Shortly after, the two finally arrived at the residence, which was where his brother used to live. However, the inside was very dark and sunlight couldn't penetrate. Another young monk provided Xiao Tan with basic living supplies and informed him that the temple used a generator, so after 9 o'clock at night, there would be no electricity and he should not go outside, even mentioning that there were ghosts wandering at night. Xiao Tan naturally did not believe in these superstitions. After tidying up his place, he wandered around the village and discovered people making dolls. A nearby monk told him that when people here die, they are made into dolls and placed in the forest. The gods will bless them and the villagers will often worship them, so they can reincarnate sooner. At 9 o'clock in the evening, the village's power was cut off on time. Xiao Tan was lying on the bed thinking about his brother when he suddenly saw his brother appear outside his window. Xiao Tan quickly chased after him, but once outside, he didn't see his brother, only the dolls on the rope. All of this was just a dream of Xiao Tan. Early the next morning, Xiao Tan went to the temple and saw Monk Kun bullying Xiao Tan, even calling Xiao Tan a lunatic. Xiao Tan couldn't stand it and intervened, only to be scolded as the murderer's brother. This made Xiao Tan angry too, and the two started arguing, almost coming to blows. Fortunately, the deputy abbot appeared in time to stop it. The deputy abbot told Xiao Tan that he had better not stay here or he would only cause more trouble. On the way back, Xiao Tan passed by the warehouse again. He vaguely felt something was off but couldn't pinpoint it. In the evening, when Mina was bringing food to her brother, she was inexplicably stopped by Monk Kun. Monk Kun knew that Mina's mother had been bedridden for a long time and that no cure had been found over the years, so he handed Mina a doll, claiming it could cure her mother's illness. Although Mina did not trust Monk Kun, she still took the doll for her mother's sake. But Mina never imagined that this doll would bring her endless disaster. In the middle of the night, Mina suddenly started convulsing uncontrollably, as if something had entangled her. Her aunt kept calling her name, but it was to no avail. Fortunately, an experienced neighbor noticed something was wrong and quickly advised the aunt to take Mina to see Master Wei, as Mina might have been cursed. The aunt immediately followed the advice, and Master Wei was very effective. He dripped water onto the Buddha statue's hand, then let it slowly flow into Mina's mouth. Soon, Mina began to respond. Master Wei knew well that this matter was not over. He intended to cast a spell again, but was interrupted by Xiao Tan. The onlooking villagers also recognized Xiao Tan and started cursing him as the murderer's brother. However, at that moment, Mina broke free from her restraints and overturned the offerings to the idol. Seeing this, Master Wei gave up on the idea of treating her, as Mina did not have faith in the idol in her heart. In this way, Mina was taken back home. Xiao Tan suggested taking Mina to the hospital, but the young monk said the abbot had already treated Mina, which Xiao Tan couldn't understand, as he never believed in ghosts or spirits. The next day, Xiao Tan and the young monk went out to buy medicine, and when they returned, they heard Mina's mother shouting, saying Mina was locked in the room, doing something unknown, and making strange noises. Little Tan mustered up the courage to open the door and go in, but the scene before him left him completely dumbfounded. Little Tan, not yet aware of the seriousness of the problem, walked directly towards her. Xiaotan tightly hugged Mina, but she quickly broke free and immediately headed towards the forest. There were many dolls here, and it was the place with the heaviest yin energy in the village. Mina climbed step by step to the base of the statue, kneeling and begging, seemingly wanting to ask the deity to drive away something inside her. Seeing her like this, Mina's brother also started to pray, but Xiaotan still didn't believe in the supernatural. He thought it was just a statue and wouldn't bring any help to people. So he picked up something and smashed it down. Realizing something was wrong, Changmao immediately came over. He warned Xiaotan that if he destroyed this Buddha statue, his life would also be ruined. Even if Xiaotan wasn't afraid of revenge from ghosts and gods, the villagers wouldn't let him off easily. After hearing Changmao's words, Xiaotan finally put down the stick. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly fell to his knees uncontrollably, and the next moment his eyes turned completely red. And Changmao also placed his personal talisman on Xiaotan. Moments later, Xiaotan regained his senses. After experiencing such a bizarre event, Xiaotan no longer dared to act recklessly. He hurriedly repaired the broken arm of the statue, but strange occurrences continued to unfold. The next day, Mina's brother found her body in the river, and the cause of her death was even more mysterious. To commemorate Mina, Changmao specially made a doll that looks just like her. Seeing his close friend become like this, Xiaotan felt very sad. At this moment, he discovered a very strange-looking doll in Mina's house. Changmao immediately snatched it and threw it into the river. This was because it was a voodoo doll, and anyone entangled with it would inevitably lose their life. Remembering his previous actions, Xiaotan also began to worry that he might be punished by the statue like Mina. So, he knelt devoutly in front of the statue, hoping for its forgiveness. After completing the final worship, Xiaotan casually walked home. Unexpectedly, a pungent stench wafted over from afar. Xiaotan followed the smell to a tree and was shocked to find a skinned corpse hidden under a pile of leaves. Soon everyone arrived after hearing the news. After examining the basic condition of the body, they concluded that it was the long-missing Monk Kun and found Mina's bracelet next to the corpse. At this point, everyone finally believed that Monk Kun was the murderer of Mina. In order to prevent this matter from spreading and affecting the worship of the statue, the village chief and the master decided to block the news, but it wasn't long before something else happened. In the temple, a monk for some unknown reason stole the temple's money and planned to escape. This was discovered by the master, but the master did not stop him, seemingly with some concerns. However, the next day, everyone found that the monk had hanged himself, but Xiaotan believed it wasn't suicide, because with the monk's physique, he couldn't have climbed such a tall tree. Changmao watched everything from a distance, deep in thought, but said nothing. Finally, on his way back, Xiaotan saw an anus. Out of curiosity, he went to check it out, but was chased away by a monk who arrived. Then Xiaotan went to Changmao's house and saw a doll that looked a lot like his brother. Xiaotan was very angry. He believed his brother was still alive and that such a doll should not be made. But Changmao doesn't think so. He tells Xiaotan that Master Wei wants to use the statue to make money, and Xiaotan's brother disagreed, then disappeared. He thinks this matter is related to Master Wei. After hearing this, Xiaotan wants to call the police, but Changmao says it's useless. Now, the Shis, the people on this island blindly worship the idol, and with just the words of the two of them, they cannot bring down Master Wei. But Xiaotan is not willing to give up. He goes out at night to look for clues, but is attacked by a voodoo doll.
Idiot! I'm not done hitting you yet.
The master sent out his voodoo doll and ordered it to deal with Xiaotan. Fortunately, Changmao replaced Xiaotan with another voodoo doll in time and successfully rescued him. The voodoo dolls have a special method of creation, which uses a human body as the raw material. To prevent the master from taking action again, the two must quickly find the doll's corpse. So Changmao took Xiaotan to check the coffin. Unexpectedly, Xiaotan also came here. At this moment, they discovered that the corpse in the coffin had disappeared. Without a doubt, this was the master's doing. The next day, Xiaotan took Xiaotan to gather evidence. The village chief suddenly appeared and knocked Xiaotan out. When he woke up again, Xiaotan almost became a puppet, and the culprit was undoubtedly Master Wei in front of him. He was previously an evil sorcerer, but because he killed many people, he could only hide in this remote village. During his interactions, Xiaotan's brother noticed something suspicious. To protect himself, Master Wei ruthlessly killed him and sealed him in a puppet. When he was about to kill Xiaotan to silence him, Changmao arrived just in time to save Xiaotan without any danger. Xiaotan immediately revealed Master Wei's crimes. The monks were unable to accept this fact upon hearing it. Just as they were in shock, another unexpected event occurred. It turns out that all of this was Master Wei's doing again. He manipulated Monk Kun's voodoo doll, repeatedly attacking Xiaotan and the others. In a critical moment, Xiaotan placed Chang Mao's personal weapon on the doll, temporarily restricting its actions. After Monk Kun was successfully shattered, Master Wei summoned the voodoo doll of Xiaotan's brother. The doll tightly grabbed Xiaotan's hair, as if it was about to tear him apart, but Xiaotan hesitated to strike his brother. Seeing this, Xiaotan had no choice but to stop the master from chanting the spell. As the spell was interrupted, Xiaotan's brother also regained his senses. After saying a final goodbye to Xiaotan, he dissipated. Afterwards, Xiaotan rebuilt a doll for his brother. But unlike before, this doll represented peace and protection. Seeing that everything had settled, Xiaotan decided to take Xiaotang to see the outside world. However, after they left, everyone discovered a monk imprisoned in the old warehouse, and this monk revealed a terrifying truth to them. It turns out that the young monk accidentally discovered the master making voodoo dolls that day. In a panic, he escaped and encountered Xiaotang, thinking Xiaotang would help him. Unexpectedly, Xiaotang injured him and locked him up. It turns out this warehouse had always been Xiaotang's residence. The master had previously tortured Xiaotang here, forcing him to obey. At this moment, Chang Mao found another voodoo doll in the room, revealing that the doll Kun monk gave to Mina was indeed a guardian doll. When Xiaotang learned of this, he secretly switched the two dolls, with the aim of obtaining Mina's body. When Xiaotang tried to forcibly take Mina for himself, Monk Kun appeared, and the two immediately started fighting. As a result, Mina fell into the river and unfortunately drowned. Seeing this, Monk Kun wanted to take Xiaotang to see the master, and have him seek justice for Mina. Since childhood, Xiaotang suffered various abuses from the master. Fearing that this time he might be beaten to death, he immediately got into another dispute with Monk Kun. During their struggle, Xiaotang accidentally killed Monk Kun, and the monk who committed suicide was actually the abbot's accomplice, planning to run away with money, and it was Xiaotang who killed him. Seemingly innocent, Xiaotang was actually a murderous maniac.
Perhaps it was because he had been tortured by the master, or perhaps it was due to his twisted love for Mina. One can only say, never underestimate the horrors of human nature.